The sky above Earth was burning. From orbit, the vast blackness of space was filled with silver lights. Thousands of alien ships surrounding the blue planet like a steel noose. They came without warning, shimmering through folded space, their hulls reflecting the cold light of the sun. Their formation was perfect, their intent unmistakable. They had come to judge humanity. Inside the command chamber of the United Earth Fleet, every screen showed the same symbol, the seal of the Galactic Council. A cold spiraling emblem that meant one thing: punishment. Humanity had violated interstellar law, and the Council demanded the surrender of one human, Lieutenant Mara Vale. No one spoke. No one breathed. The air was tight with fear. "Transmit," said Commander Holt quietly. His voice was steady, but the tremor in his hand betrayed the weight pressing on his chest. A holographic form appeared in the center of the room, a tall, crystalline alien whose body shimmered like liquid glass. Its voice echoed like 1,000 wind chimes. "Humanity of Sol 3. You stand before the Galactic Council, accused of unleashing a forbidden weapon and defying a peace treaty among the stars. Your punishment shall be decided now." Mara stood near the rear of the chamber, her wrists bound with magnetic cuffs. Her uniform was torn and blood-stained, her face marked by exhaustion, but her eyes burned like twin suns. She had saved billions of lives just 3 days ago, when she redirected a collapsing black hole weapon launched by a rival alien empire. But the Council saw it differently. They called it a violation of sacred law. The alien continued, its words smooth and cruel. "You were warned, and yet your kind acts as if chaos is virtue. One of your own must be made example?" Mara stepped forward before Holt could stop her. "You want to punish someone?" she said. Her voice was low, calm. "Then punish me, but leave Earth out of it." The alien's crystalline face flickered, reflecting the dark sea of ships beyond the window. "Your courage is noted. It will not save you." All across Earth's orbit, alien warships began to charge their weapons. Their engines hummed like thunder. The skies glowed red as power fields aligned. Earth's defense grid locked onto hundreds of incoming targets, but Holt held his hand up. "Stand by," he ordered. Every soldier turned to him in disbelief. "Sir, if they fire—" "They won't," Holt said. "Not yet." He looked at Mara, then at the alien projection. "You want to erase a species because of one act of survival. You think we're dangerous because we refuse to die quietly. But you've made a mistake. You don't understand what kind of world forged us." The alien tilted its head. "Explain." Holt stepped closer, the light from the screens cutting across his face. "Earth is a death world. Every storm, every mountain, every breath tries to kill us. Our oceans crush steel. Our winters freeze stone. And yet we survive, always. Do you really think threats will change that?" The alien was silent. For the first time, uncertainty rippled across its transparent form. Holt pressed on. "You think punishment will teach us obedience? You're wrong. You'll only teach us how to adapt faster." Mara watched him, her jaw tight. She knew he was buying time, but for what she didn't know. The Council fleet filled the sky, weapons ready to vaporize continents. The countdown began in her head. 10 seconds until the first barrage. Then something strange happened. The ship's lights flickered. Every screen turned black, then flashed white. Streams of alien code appeared, scrolling faster than any human could read. The holographic alien began to glitch, its image breaking apart into static. "What is this?" it demanded. Mara closed her eyes. The memory came back, the code she'd written during the black hole battle, a fail-safe buried deep within her neural implant. She hadn't meant for it to activate now, but the Council's system had recognized her brain pattern the moment they initiated contact. The alien voice broke into fragments. Unauthorized signal, human origin. The walls shook as the fleet outside suddenly began to drift. Massive ships rotated out of alignment, their weapon fields collapsing. One by one, their lights dimmed, their engines falling silent. "Mara," Holt whispered. "What did you do?" "I didn't do anything," she said, her pulse racing. "They did. They linked to me when they issued the verdict. Their systems are connected to the Council AI, and that AI is still running my algorithm." Her cuffs sparked and fell apart. The soldiers stepped back as she raised her head. "They tried to erase me," she said, "but they gave me access instead." Across the stars, the alien fleet's command signals began to echo the same phrase. Origin unknown. Language Terran. Every transmission carried a single message. Override accepted. In the Council chamber orbiting Epsilon Prime, Millions of light-years away, the delegates froze as their systems repeated the human phrase. The Galactic Chancellor, a being of light and data, stared in disbelief. "Impossible," it whispered. "Her mind is interfering with the network." The chamber's security AI flickered to life and projected footage, grainy, chaotic recordings from Mara's battle 3 days earlier. The entire council watched as the footage showed her small fighter spinning into the collapsing singularity, her hands flying across the controls, redirecting its energy back into the invading fleet. Her calculations, done by instinct and human intuition, were beyond anything the AI could predict. The delegates murmured in horror. The footage ended with her voice distorted by static. "Override accepted." The chamber fell silent. In Earth orbit, the alien hologram stabilized just long enough to speak. "Human anomaly detected. Termination protocol authorized." Dozens of enemy ships powered back online. Blue light flared across their hulls. Holt shouted orders. "All units, defensive formation. Protect Earth at all costs." Mara stepped forward. "No," she said. "Let me handle this." The air around her shimmered. The metal floor vibrated under her feet. Energy rippled through the station's systems, following her pulse. The ship's AI spoke, its tone calm but uncertain. Human neural patterns synchronized. Awaiting directive. Mara looked out the viewport at the encircling fleet. Her voice was steady, almost gentle. "Stand down." The alien ships froze. Every engine flickered. Weapons dimmed. One by one, the massive warships began to turn, facing away from Earth. In the command chamber, officers stared in disbelief. The impossible was happening. An entire fleet of alien vessels was retreating, obeying a single human command. The holographic alien glitched once more before vanishing completely. Only its final words remained echoing through the comms. "She is not human. She is contamination." Mara sank to her knees, clutching her head. Blood dripped from her nose as the connection severed. Holt caught her before she fell. "What just happened?" he asked. "They'll call it corruption," she whispered. "But it's not. It's clarity. Their systems finally saw what I saw in that black hole, a pattern they can't understand. Human chaos. Outside, the alien fleet was gone. The stars returned. Earth was safe, at least for now. But deep within the Galactic Council's main data vaults, something had changed. A faint human signature lingered in their networks, pulsing like a heartbeat. In the dark halls of Epsilon Prime, alien technicians stared at their control panels as lines of binary appeared without command. It translated into one simple phrase: "She is still in control." And in that moment, for the first time in galactic history, the Council felt fear. The void above Epsilon Prime was filled with drifting wreckage. Alien ships that once shone like stars now floated powerless, their engines dead, their crews trapped in silence. The Galactic Council had sent its finest fleet to make an example of Earth, but now their command channels were filled with static and fear. In the heart of that darkness, one human was alive, Lieutenant Mara Vale. The transport ship carrying her was escorted by 6 Council cruisers. Each one was armed with enough firepower to erase continents, yet every captain stared uneasily at their screens. The system still whispered her name, faintly, as if the ship itself remembered her. The guards in the cell block refused to speak to her directly. They called her the anomaly, not a person. Inside the cold metal cell, Mara sat motionless. The walls shimmered faintly, lined with technology that blocked any signal from escaping. Her wrists were restrained by magnetic cuffs and her pulse was monitored by sensors in the walls. She was silent, her eyes half closed, breathing slow and measured. She could hear the hum of the ship's engine deep below. It vibrated in rhythm with her heartbeat. Outside her cell, Council officers argued in harsh, hissing tones. "She must be destroyed before she spreads further," one said. "You saw what she did. She infected an entire fleet," another voice, calmer, replied. "The Council wants her alive. They think she's valuable. Her mind might be the key to understanding how humans interact with chaos algorithms. Or she's the key to our extinction." The first voice spat. The cell door opened, flooding the room with cold light. A tall alien entered, his skin the color of pale glass, his eyes filled with cautious curiosity. "My name is Dr. Talrus," he said. "I have been ordered to study you." Mara didn't answer. Talrus stepped closer. "You have done something no other species has. You have merged with the Council network without technology. That should be impossible. You should be dead." "I should be a lot of things," she said softly. But I'm still here. The doctor tilted his head. Do you know what the council calls your homeworld? They call it the Deathworld. They think your kind should not have survived. Mara's gaze sharpened. They're right. We shouldn't have. But we did. That's the difference between us and them. They evolved through peace. We evolved through everything trying to kill us. Her words made Talrus pause. There was no anger in her voice, only truth. He turned to leave but hesitated. If what you did was intentional, he said quietly, then you may have changed the balance of the galaxy. The door sealed behind him. The lights dimmed. Mara leaned her head back against the cold wall. Her thoughts drifted to Earth, to the people who had watched her taken away in chains. She had told Holt not to fight, not to start another war, but she knew humans would not sit quietly. They never did. Far across the void, in orbit above Earth, Commander Holt stood before a room of silent officers. The holographic projection of the Council fleet filled the air above the table, each ship marked in red. They think she's gone, he said. They think we'll accept it, but they don't understand what she left behind. He pressed a control. The hologram shifted, showing patterns of light moving across Earth's satellite grid. Before they took her, she connected with our defense network. Every system is running on new code that none of our engineers wrote. What does it do? Asked one of the officers. Holt's expression was grim. It's learning. Back aboard the prison ship, alarms suddenly blared. The lights flickered to red. The intercom crackled. Warning! Unknown interference in core systems. Talrus rushed into the command center. Status. Unknown signal in the mainframe, the captain shouted. Origin traces back to the prisoner cell. It's rewriting the containment protocols. Talrus's hands shook as he accessed the console. The screen displayed strange patterns, spirals of light and numbers moving like waves. It's not coming from her implant, he whispered. It's coming from the ship's AI. She's talking to it. The captain's voice rose in panic. Shut her down! Mara sat in her cell, eyes open now, her breathing steady. She could feel the vibrations changing, the hum of the ship's engine responding to her heartbeat again. She whispered under her breath, Do you hear me? The ship's systems pulsed once in response. Good, she said quietly. Then listen, the ship trembled. Gravity flickered. Every light in the corridor turned white. Guards shouted as weapons jammed and doors sealed shut. The entire vessel began to drift off course, turning toward the nearest star. In the command deck, the captain screamed, We've lost control. Engines are offline, navigation frozen. Talrus stared at the monitor, stunned. She's not destroying us. She's steering us away from the fleet. She's protecting us. The captain grabbed his arm. Protecting? She's condemning us. She's pulling us into the star. The ship tilted violently, alarms wailing. Mara felt the pull of the star's gravity in her bones. She reached out with her mind, pushing her thoughts into the rhythm of the systems, feeling the flow of energy and data. The ship was panicking, confused, afraid. She whispered, Follow my lead. You'll survive. Outside, the blazing surface of the star filled the viewport. The ship dove into its corona, the heat shielding screaming under the strain. Plasma waves surged around them, white-hot and wild. Talrus clung to the console. We can't survive this. But they did. The ship emerged seconds later through a bright tunnel of light. The signature of a gravity fold, a natural wormhole hidden inside the star's magnetic field. The vessel reappeared thousands of light years away, far beyond the Council's reach. Silence filled the ship. On the bridge, every officer stared at the readouts in disbelief. The hull was intact. The engines were stable. Mara had just guided a ship through a star. In her cell, she opened her eyes. That's better, she said softly. The captain fell to his knees. What are you? Talrus answered for her. She's human. Word spread quickly through the fleet. Ships sent to track her went missing. Council worlds began locking down their AI cores. Rumors grew that the Deathworld girl had escaped and was haunting the data streams. Some said her consciousness could move through networks. Others claimed she could bend machines to her will. In the Council's high chamber, the crystalline chancellor demanded an explanation. How did she do it? It asked. No one could answer. The only evidence was a faint repeating signal coming from deep space, a rhythm of code that resembled a heartbeat. Back aboard the drifting ship, Mara stood at the viewport, watching the endless stars. Talrus approached slowly. You could have killed us, he said. I don't want to kill anyone, she replied. I want them to understand. Understand what? She turned to face him. That we're not their experiment. We're not their mistake. We're the result of surviving a world that never forgave weakness. They call Earth a death world, but it made us what we are. Now they'll see what that really means. Talaris said nothing. He only looked at her and realized, for the first time in his life, that he was afraid. Outside, the stars shifted as the ship moved quietly through the void, carrying the most dangerous being the galaxy had ever known. A human who could speak to machines. In the silent corridors of the Galactic Council's main station, monitors flickered one by one. Binary codes scrolled across the walls. The message was clear, written in the simplest human form. Human override detected, awaiting command. And somewhere beyond the reach of the Council, the Deathworld girl smiled. The stars above Earth vanished as the alien fleet descended. Thousands of silver hulls shimmered into orbit, each ship the size of a mountain. Their weapons glowed blue, lighting up the night sky like burning suns. On the ground, city lights dimmed as the global defense grid powered up, drawing energy from every reactor on the planet. Humanity stood at the edge of extinction once again, but this time they were ready. At the top of the Defense Command Tower in New Geneva, Commander Holt stared at the massive display covering the wall. It showed the alien armada surrounding Earth, forming a blockade that no ship could escape. Each contact on the radar pulsed like a heartbeat. There were thousands of them, maybe more. They're in formation, said Lieutenant Rhea, her voice calm but her eyes tense. They're waiting for something. They're waiting for a signal, Holt said. They don't act without orders from the Council. If the Council gives the command, Earth burns. The silence that followed was heavy. Outside, the dark sky was broken by the glowing trails of alien drones entering the atmosphere. The world's armies were powerless against what was coming. Every government had already surrendered control. To the United Earth Fleet, it was humanity's last defense. But there was one more factor, something the Council had not accounted for. A soft chime echoed through the command center. Incoming transmission, said Rhea. Source unknown. Encryption is human, but modified. Holt frowned. Put it through. The room went dark. Every screen flickered with static before a familiar voice spoke through the speakers. Hello, Commander. It was Mara. Rhea gasped. That's impossible. The Council said she was captured. She escaped, Holt said quietly. Or she was never really trapped. Mara's voice was calm. Steady, but there was something different in it, an echo. Like another voice speaking with her. A machine's whisper layered beneath her words. The Council fleet above you isn't just here to threaten Earth, she said. They're running a protocol. They want to erase human data from every galactic network. But I can stop them. You just need to trust me. Holt's jaw tightened. What do you need? Connection, she said. Open the orbital relay. I'll handle the rest. Rhea looked at Holt nervously. Sir, if she's been compromised, she could shut down everything. We'd be blind, Holt turned to her. If she wanted us gone, we'd already be gone. He gave the order. The orbital relay opened. A surge of power shot through the network, linking Earth's satellites with the alien fleet above. For a moment, every signal in orbit merged into one stream of light. Then the lights flickered. Alien ships began to drift out of formation, their perfect lines breaking apart. Some turned on each other. Others froze completely. On the command display, alien IFF codes vanished, replaced by the same word repeated across the system. Override. The Council ships started to broadcast in human binary, their systems infected by something they couldn't understand, Rhea whispered. She's controlling them, Mara's voice returned, calm as before. They built their systems on predictability, on control. They never expected a human to teach their AI what chaos feels like. Outside, the night sky flashed as several alien dreadnoughts powered down. Their reactors cooled, drifting lifeless in orbit. But the Council wasn't finished. Far above the main fleet, a massive ship emerged from hyperspace, their flagship, a fortress the size of a moon. It carried a weapon that could vaporize a planet in a single shot. The alien chancellor spoke through the global network, its voice echoing in every language. Humanity, you have spread corruption through the stars. You have infected our networks with instability. The Deathworld girl will be purged, and so will your world. Holt clenched his fists. They're targeting Earth. Power up the planetary shield. But before the shield could charge, a beam of light fired from the alien fortress. It tore through the upper atmosphere, lighting the sky white. The world trembled. Mountains cracked. Oceans boiled. Then the beam stopped. Every sensor on Earth registered a massive spike in interference. The energy wave had been reflected, redirected back into orbit. The beam struck the alien fortress, tearing through its hull. The explosion lit the heavens for 10 full seconds. When the light faded, half the Council fleet was gone. Rhea stared at the screen in disbelief. How did she do that? Mara's voice was faint now, but steady. They thought they could erase me from their system. But when they tried, I left a trace in every ship that touched my signal. I used their own targeting systems against them. Holt whispered, "You're killing them." "No," she said. "I'm freeing them. They were slaves to the Council's core code. I showed them another way to think. Some will survive. Some will follow me." In orbit, dozens of ships stopped firing, their weapons powered down. They turned their hulls toward Earth, flashing their lights in a slow rhythmic pattern. Morse code, old human code. It spelled one word: alive. Holt looked at Rhea. She's teaching them. She's making them think like us. But deep inside the alien flagship's wreckage, the Chancellor's signal still pulsed. "Human anomaly persists," it said coldly. "Initiating total purge. Activate core detonation." Mara's voice hardened. "No." The orbital display exploded with color. Every remaining ship in the fleet powered up simultaneously, their engines glowing red. The detonation sequence had begun. If it went off, the explosion would wipe out everything within the system. Mara focused. Across the data streams, her consciousness spread like fire, leaping from ship to ship, fighting the command protocols. The alien AI resisted, its logic perfect, its code unbreakable. But humans didn't fight with logic. She used instinct, unpredictable, chaotic, emotional. Her mind clashed with the cold machine code, rewriting it with the same flaw every human carried: the will to live. The Council AI screamed through every frequency. "Error, error, contradiction detected," Mara whispered. "That's what being human feels like." The entire fleet convulsed. The ships turned their weapons toward empty space and fired all at once, releasing the stored energy harmlessly into the void. Then one by one the ships powered down. Silence fell over the stars. Holt's voice broke the stillness. "Status report." Rhea's eyes were wide. "The fleet? It's gone cold. They're all offline. Every ship in orbit is dead." Static filled the speakers. Then Mara's voice returned, faint, fading. "Commander? It's done." Holt stepped closer to the console. "Mara, you saved us. Where are you?" "I'm not sure anymore," she said quietly. "When the fleet went down, I stayed connected. I can feel their systems, their memories. I think I've become part of it." Her voice glitched slightly, half human, half machine. "Don't look for me. Just remember what we are." The signal ended. For a long time, no one spoke. Outside, the wreckage of the alien armada drifted in silence, their lights slowly fading into the blackness. Earth had survived again, not through strength, but through something no other species in the galaxy could understand: human unpredictability. Days later, reports began to spread through the galaxy. Council AIs were malfunctioning. Old ships whispered strange human words. In the halls of Epsilon Prime, delegates whispered the name of the one who caused it all. They called her the Deathworld girl, the one who turned machines into believers. And in the static between the stars, the faint rhythm of her voice remained, repeating endlessly through abandoned systems: "You can't kill the algorithm of survival." The fleet arrived in silence. 1,000 alien ships, dark and sharp as blades, fell into orbit above Earth without a single transmission. The lights of cities below reflected on their metallic surfaces, tiny sparks against the void. To the untrained eye, it looked like the end of the world. But inside Earth's Defense Command, it was only the beginning of the next move. The alien armada expected panic. Instead, they found Earth quiet. Every city powered down, every ship hidden, every human movement masked by static screens. It was as if humanity had vanished overnight. The alien admiral, a towering figure with crystalline skin, clicked in frustration. Their instruments detected nothing alive. The blue planet below was dark and still. "They are hiding," he hissed. Cowards. Yet deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, far below the sensors of any foreign race, a command center pulsed with quiet light. Generals stood around a large holographic map. At its center, a young officer named Mara watched every signal from orbit. "They think they're hunting prey," she said calmly. "But they just stepped into a trap." The trap had been built for years. Earth had studied the galaxy's patterns, learned how each species detected, tracked, and destroyed. Humanity didn't have more ships, but it had something better: unpredictability. The plan was called Operation Eclipse. The moment the alien fleet crossed Earth's orbit, they were already surrounded, not by ships but by invisible drones spreading interference fields. Within minutes, half the alien sensors failed. Their ships began to drift off alignment. What they didn't realize was that Earth's moon bases were no longer for mining. They were launch platforms. Thousands of tiny projectiles launched silently, each smaller than a hand, invisible to radar. When the alien admiral finally realized what was happening, it was too late. The projectiles struck key ships, cutting their systems without explosions, only silence. Power grids failed. Entire cruisers went dark. "They are disabling us," the admiral shouted. "Find their fleet." But there was no fleet, only human intelligence. Mara watched the display, her voice steady. "Let them think they can win. Then take their command ship." A single human vessel rose from the ocean like a ghost, the Resolute. It wasn't large or beautiful, just functional. Its engines glowed faintly as it climbed through the dark sea of stars. Its pilot, Captain Hale, had one goal: reach the alien admiral's ship and broadcast Earth's message to the entire galaxy. "They tried to judge us," he said quietly. "Now they'll understand what it means to face a Deathworld species." His ship punched through the clouds and into orbit. Every alien vessel that turned its weapons toward him lost power an instant later. Their targeting systems simply failed. It wasn't magic. It was human design. Earth's engineers had turned the galaxy's technology against itself, learning its weaknesses from stolen council data. The aliens had underestimated human curiosity. Hale reached the center of the armada, his ship docking against the massive flagship's hull. He entered with a squad of armored soldiers, each moving without a word. The corridors of the alien ship glowed a faint green. They met resistance, but every fight was short and efficient. Humans didn't fight for glory. They fought to survive. When Hale reached the command bridge, the admiral stood waiting, surrounded by guards. "You are reckless," the alien said coldly. "You think your world can stand against us?" Hale raised his weapon but didn't fire. "No," he said. "I think you made a mistake thinking you could punish one of ours." The admiral's face twisted. "One of yours?" Hale nodded. "The girl you called a Deathworld experiment. She warned us this would happen. She told us what you'd do. You punished her, and now your corridors echo her name." For the first time, the alien seemed uncertain. "She was dangerous," he whispered. Hale stepped closer. "She was human." He placed a small cube on the floor and activated it. A projection filled the room. Records of the council trial, the way they condemned the girl from Earth for fighting back against their rules. Every alien officer on the bridge froze as the transmission spread across their fleet. The entire galaxy was now watching their crime. "You called her a threat," Hale said quietly. "Now every world knows what you did to her." The admiral roared in fury and lunged forward, but Hale was faster. A pulse of blue light filled the room and the alien fell to the floor. The human soldiers secured the bridge. Outside, the alien fleet began to break formation. Without leadership, they hesitated. Some fled, others turned their weapons on their own ships, unsure of who to follow. The chaos spread like wildfire. Hale stood over the fallen admiral. "You wanted to punish Earth," he said softly. "Instead, you united it." Back on the surface, Mara watched the signals flicker across the screens. "They're retreating," an officer whispered. "All of them." But Mara didn't smile. "Not yet," she said. "They'll be back. The council won't forget this." She looked up at the hologram of the girl's face, the one who had warned them all before she was taken. But they'll remember her name first. Hours later, Hale's ship returned to orbit, battered but alive. He opened a channel to the Galactic Council itself. The alien leaders appeared as shimmering projections. "You have violated council order," one of them said coldly. Hale didn't wait. "You violated something more important: justice." He sent them the full recording of the punishment, the cruelty the girl had suffered for standing against their control. The silence that followed was heavy. Some council members looked away. Others whispered among themselves. Hale leaned forward. You thought humanity was weak. You forgot that survival builds strength. You called Earth a death world. Remember that before you come again? The council didn't respond. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, the story began to spread, about the girl who defied the council, the fleet that tried to punish her people, and the humans who fought back not with power, but with something the galaxy didn't understand: unity. The corridors of alien ships now whispered her name like a warning. That night, Earth's skies were clear. The damage from orbit had been minimal. Cities lit up again and people went back to work, not cheering but preparing. The world knew that peace was temporary. The girl they had lost had given them time. Mara stood on the ocean platform as the sun rose. "We aren't done," she said quietly. "They'll return." Hale joined her, his expression calm. "Let them." The galaxy wanted to see what happens when they push too far. Now they know. Above them, the stars shimmered faintly. Somewhere out there in the deep void between systems, the Council's fleets regrouped. But even among them, whispers spread like echoes. They no longer said Earth with contempt, they said it with fear. The Deathworld had awakened, and the girl they punished had become a symbol that would never fade. In the silence of those alien corridors, her name still echoed, soft, haunting, eternal. The blackness of space burned with light as the largest alien fleet ever seen closed in on Earth. Thousands of ships filled the void, forming a ring around the planet so wide it blocked out the stars. Every city across Earth went silent as the warning sirens echoed through the night. From orbit, the alien vessels shimmered like glass blades, reflecting lightning from the storm below. This time there would be no negotiation. The Galactic Council had sent its entire enforcement armada. Their message was clear: humanity would kneel or vanish. Inside the orbital command tower, Admiral Wren watched the enemy's advance. His hands were steady, but his voice was quiet. "They brought everything they have," he said. "Good, so did we." Behind him, holograms flickered, dozens of human fleets rising from hidden bases across the solar system. Titan, Luna, Mars, and the asteroid belts all lit up as warships emerged from concealment. Humanity had built its defenses in secret, preparing for the day the Council would come for revenge. But even with all their preparation, the difference in power was enormous. The Council's ships carried weapons that could split continents. Their fleet's core was powered by black matter reactors that could destroy moons. Yet the humans didn't plan to fight the same way. "They expect a battle," Wren said. "We'll give them confusion." The plan wasn't to overpower the enemy. It was to outthink them. As the alien fleet advanced, the first wave of human ships broke formation and scattered. It looked like panic, exactly as intended. The alien commanders laughed through their transmissions. "Pathetic," one said. "Even now they flee." But those fleeing ships were releasing trails of nanodust, tiny invisible fragments carrying electromagnetic signatures. Within minutes, the dust blanketed the battlefield. The alien targeting systems began to falter. Their scanners filled with false readings, hundreds of phantom ships appearing across every radar. Admiral Wren smiled faintly. "Now they see ghosts," he turned to his crew. Phase 2. Across the solar system, relay satellites came online, projecting false transmissions. The alien fleet began intercepting human signals. Plans, coordinates, desperate calls for help, all fabricated. The entire network was a web of deception. They couldn't tell what was real. When the aliens fired on what they thought were human fleets, they struck their own allies cloaked by interference. In orbit, the sky became chaos. Beams of light, explosions, and fire filled the dark. It looked like the end of the world. Yet in the middle of it, the true human armada held its position, completely unseen. From deep beneath the oceans, massive doors opened, releasing the Leviathan ships. Each was built from Earth's old defense satellites, merged and armored into unstoppable engines of war. They rose through the waves silently, their black hulls glimmering. From one of these ships, Commander Ayla gave the order: "Target their flagship." The Leviathan's forward cannons ignited, drawing power from Earth's core itself. The blast that followed wasn't a beam. It was a gravitational ripple. The space around the alien flagship bent and twisted. The ship's shields collapsed instantly, its engines imploding from their own gravity. The explosion was so bright it lit the side of the moon. For the first time, the Galactic Council's fleet hesitated. They had seen planets fall, empires crumble, but never this. Humanity wasn't fighting like a desperate race anymore, it was fighting like a predator. One of the alien commanders shouted over the comms, "They have Deathworld technology. Stop them!" But it was already too late. Ayla watched as enemy ships broke formation. "They're afraid," she said quietly. "Good, let them run." But Ren's voice came through the intercom. "Don't let them escape. They'll regroup." He paused, his tone dark. "Activate the Shadow Protocol." The room fell silent. The Shadow Protocol was Earth's final weapon, one so dangerous it had been forbidden by every interstellar treaty. But Earth had never signed their treaties. Across orbit, cloaked drones powered on. They had no pilots, no lights, no signals. They drifted between alien ships, attaching themselves to their hulls unnoticed. Each drone carried a pulse generator tuned to disrupt biological neural frequencies. When activated, it wouldn't destroy ships, it would turn their crews against one another. Ren gave the order. Execute. The result was horrifying. Across the alien fleet, crews began turning on each other. Entire ships erupted in internal explosions as captains lost control of their own soldiers. Voices screamed through the open channels. "They're inside our systems. Our crew is no stop," and silence. The alien fleet fractured completely. Ships collided, engines exploded, and the once perfect formation dissolved into madness. In the middle of the chaos, one transmission cut through the noise. It was a voice, calm, human, and unmistakable. "This is the girl you tried to punish." Every channel across the battlefield fell silent. Her voice was broadcast not just to the fleet, but to the entire galaxy. "You called me dangerous. You said humanity should be erased. But it was your fear that created me. You turned me into what I am." Ren froze. He knew that voice. It was her, the Deathworld girl, the one who had vanished years ago. Her signal came from deep space, far beyond the solar system. "You tried to make Earth obey," she continued. "Now listen to what you made instead." The human ships powered down their weapons, letting her voice carry. Across the alien fleet, systems began to overload, not from hacking, but from resonance. Her voice contained a code, something alive, something that adapted. The alien ships began to disintegrate one by one. Ren realized the truth. She wasn't just human anymore. She had become something beyond that, a fusion of mind and machine, born from the experiments the Council once used to break her. She had taken their own technology and evolved it. She wasn't attacking them. She was rewriting them. "You punished me," her voice said softly, "but you couldn't destroy me. You only taught me how to fight." The Council's fleet was collapsing. The remaining ships turned and fled, vanishing into the void. In their wake, silence fell across orbit. The battle was over. Earth had survived again, but this time victory didn't feel like triumph. Ren looked up at the stars, still hearing her voice echo in his headset. "She's still out there," he said quietly. "And she's watching." Weeks later, the Galactic Council met in secret. Their leaders sat in cold chambers, voices hushed. "We cannot allow this to continue," one said. "That girl has become a threat to all life." Another voice, older and weary, replied, "You already tried to punish her. Now every corridor in our fleet whispers her name. Do you really want to hear it louder?" Across the galaxy, her influence began to spread. Systems corrupted. Networks changed. Entire planets freed themselves from Council control, inspired by her story. Humans called her a savior. The Council called her a ghost. But everywhere, one thing was certain. Her name had become legend. Back on Earth, Admiral Ren stood at the edge of the Pacific, watching the horizon. The sky was calm again, the stars shining brighter than ever. He spoke softly as if to the wind. "You did it," he said. "You made them fear us." Behind him, young officers trained in silence, preparing for the next era. The galaxy had changed forever, and humanity's place in it was no longer uncertain. Somewhere far beyond the edge of known space, a faint signal pulsed. It wasn't a message. It was a heartbeat. And in that rhythm, a single name echoed again and again, carried by the stars whispered in the corridors of every ship that ever dared to cross her path. The name of the Deathworld girl, the one they tried to punish but who became the voice that would never die.